I'm Giovanna Lotta. You're taking a live look at one of the protests underway in Los Angeles just a few hours after the mass immigration raids. Chris Christie is live in Air 7 with the latest. Chris.
That's right, Giovanna. It's a major protest going on about 2 hours now. Close to 1,000 people now wrapping around the detention facility between Alameda and Los Angeles Street. They started on the front steps of the federal building at 300 Los Angeles, now marching down Aliso. In the lead there is that cattle truck leading the pack as they make the turn onto Alameda Street. The strategy here is to basically encircle the detention facility, which is that building right there, where we understand there are actually some people inside of the building.
I'm Giovanna Lotta. You're taking a live look.
We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
It's a bad same time that America refused to give the Negro any land. Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest. Which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. This is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good afternoon on the West Coast. Good afternoon in the mountain. Good afternoon in the central. Good afternoon on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, Emily. Angela Nirvana, your host, the most is on the Reparations Perspective. With the youth, those Negro freedmen, hot topics, and making the case for reparations. Making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. How y'all doing, family? Welcome to the live. I know it's short notice. I know, y'all, I've been away for a while. Yeah, life has been lifing. Life has been lifing. I am doing everything I can to get to you more often, but the bills have got to be paid. Okay, so my day gig and my night gigs and all these gigs have to take priority when you've got a college age student or any amount of children in your midst. They must be the priority, and I'm sure you understand and understand that. It's not that I've not been keeping up, right? Like, I've not been able to go live as often as I enjoy, but I've been keeping up with all the, let me try to keep this PG, puckery from the Demon Rat Party. Yes, I have. They've been crashing out over these illegals. You're really starting to see their nefarious plans to ethnocide, economically genocide us in the same way, akin to what I've been telling y'all since helping to co-found the contemporary grassroots reparations movement many moons ago. I want to say around 2016, I started getting education politically through the Negro Freedman lens, and the rest is history. Okay, like, I've just been getting informed, and my third eye, which is my first eye, has become wide open to the games of the Demon Rats and how they've literally used us and our never-ending Holocaust in this country to uplift everyone but us. And so this is one of, I don't even know how many parts this series is going to be, because I've got a whole laundry list of egregious acts by the Demon Rats since we were instrumental in helping to sit them down this term. And so I'm going to be bringing this to you and chewing the elephant one bite at a time, just going through my emails of the stories I've saved to bring to you that I want to weigh in on, because it is very, very critical for our entire lineage that we get on the same page when it comes to putting Negro freedmen first, second, third. Everybody has to go, because we've got immigrants in political power that got two caucuses now, their own, and now they've taken over the Congressional Black Caucus altogether. And any Negroes that remain are there for their reparations exclusively. They're not there to help us to get the repair that our collective is long overdue. They are there to sell us out. So let's just chew this elephant one bite at a time. I can't be here long. Have to get to my other job, in a few hours. So I'm not going to tarry. Let's get into these things I've got to share with you. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Welcome to the live. Let me fly my better. Shout out to those who are in support of what I do, advocating for Negroes, advocating for reparations, and the socialization of our vote. We must weaponize our vote and socialize our suffering. So shout out to you. Thank you. I'm going to scroll this on the bottom so that you guys can see what I'm here for. Okay. For us, this is the Negro. They call it the new black media. This is the new Negro media over here. Okay. I'm really pretty much repping us exclusively, talking about the things that are happening to us. So let's get into it. Let me share my screen. And if there are any comments, I'll get to those towards the end of the broadcast, okay? So I want to show you what's going on in Los Angeles right now. We knew that ICE was coming, but now they're here, and these folks have lost their entire minds. They're literally fighting ICE down here in LA. I would venture to say all over the country, these libtards are out here fighting harder for illegal
enforcement issues that are going on here right now.
They are the Negro freedmen, and they're using our votes to make it possible. Not this last election cycle, but if we don't continue to finish these Dems for several election cycles, it will be the end of the line. Let's get into it.
Pretty much most of the morning, Then a crowd started forming outside the perimeter. They started actually surrounding these buildings. And I'm not sure if this is what happened, but obviously the people inside could not get out because all of these people had surrounded the building. Well, that's when these armored vehicles started coming in. All these agents started coming in, and they surrounded the building. They were using pepper spray and got all the people that were around the building, got them out of the way so that they could bring in vans into the parking lot of the building. We're able to get some people that were inside, some of the workers inside. They put them in those vans to take them out. And now they are finishing their operation, then they're about to leave. As you can see, there's still a lot of confrontations happening here in the street. Here are the agents as they're leaving the area. And as you can see here, they're surrounded by people that are basically throwing things at them, telling them to get out of LA. There are people who are opposed completely to the ICE enforcement issues that are going on here right now. And we can see it's happening right here in front of us. This is where the people are protesting. You can see them over there. They're yelling at the agents. They have been tossing tear gas around. We got, our photographer, George Izquierdo, was right in the middle of it. He got hit by it. I was across the street. I could see and feel it in my face as well. But here you see the agents from ATF. Those are ATF, is what it says on them. But I also saw Homeland Security and FBI, and they're now leaving the scene. And here are all the people that are behind them, basically yelling at them, telling them to get out of here, and pushing them in a way out. But they're already done with their operation. As I said earlier, they were here, and they were able to get several dozen, it appeared, employees from this business called Ambiance. But now the operation is over, and they're leaving the scene, and you can see that all the people are basically following them as they leave. So they'll be with them for a little bit as they get out of the area, and that's what they're doing right now. You can see people with signs and others here very upset. But again, this has been going on for several hours right now. It appears now that thing is over, but now we're just waiting to see as the agents leave the scene, and you can see they're being followed there for a bit. But again, it's been very chaotic here for the last several hours. It now appears to be winding down a bit, but obviously tensions still very high here as people are very upset that Homeland Security performed what appeared to be a series of raids this morning.
Okay, family. So what you're just witnessing here is the people here in what I've affectionately termed Little Mexico, because that's pretty much what it's become. They are literally fighting ICE agents to stop these deportations. Now, if my memory serves me, as I'm sure yours does, this is what we voted for. And the reason we voted for it, especially those of us, the 28% or more of us that voted for deportation, closed borders vis-a-vis Trump, it is because this is happening in every democratically run city and state throughout the country. The nation is now becoming what California has become. And my question to Negroes has been and will always be, when the nation becomes California, when you've been reduced to about 3%, where is the Negro going and with what? The Democrats, the Demon Rats, have declared war on us specifically, and they've used our vote to render us bottom caste while giving away our reparations, protections, Social Security, and taxes to these immigrants and illegals, because we need a moratorium on mass immigration as well. It's not just the illegal criminals that this needs to stop. This is not just happening, as most folks are trying to have you to believe, in the orange groves. We are being replaced all the way up and through corporate executive levels. And it's not enough to just deport. Clinton deported millions. Barack Obama deported millions. George Bush, the second, he deported millions. But Trump is the only one with about 100 injunctions as he's trying to clean up the country, not just for his sake, but for the sake of those of us who want these borders closed, who want to be protected as a nation, who want to be able, especially the Negro, because we're the last hired, the first to be fired. We need our people to have employment at every level because our people are not the most degreed in this country. And even those of us that are degreed are having huge challenges finding employment that keep time with the current cost of living. And it's because, due in large part to the demon rats. It's not that the Republican clans don't have any fault. What's up, Mary Lee? I see you, family. Thank you for joining the live. It's not that the Republican clans aren't just as guilty of exploiting this immigrant labor that these illegals that they've allowed into the country. The Republican clans are in on it too. But when you're dealing with a whole entire party that we have by and large been voting for over 70 years, when you're dealing with them and you're giving them power, and this is what they're doing with that power, instead of making Negroes whole in the country of our ancestors, this is when I've got to go full court press on defeating demon rats come the midterms, come 28, the next midterms, come 32. Like, they have got to be finished because all they're doing at this stage is weaponizing our never-ending Holocaust to uplift these other groups, to crash out for these other groups. Hi, Root Trackers by Yaira. Thank you, my love, for joining the live. Please be sure to share. Share. I'm being demonetized. I'm being shadow banned. So many of you are not getting your notices, although I did post this one rather late, just a couple of hours ago. I'm trying to get in here. I'm trying to get in here every opportunity I can. It's just life has been lifing, family. So I need your help. Where's the banner? Let me fly it. I need your help getting folks over here because they need to see what's going on. Mary, I saw your comment, love. I will get to all your comments more towards the end of the live, okay? Because I've got a small window. Then I'm going to try to get back to you all again tomorrow morning because I've got some things to do after church tomorrow. It's just been a lot going on. So thank you for joining. But when you've got a demon rat party that has betrayed us, who are really seeking right now to erase and replace us with mass and illegal migrants, then you come to understand that your vote has been used to ethnocide, economically genocide you. And I'm going to be here sounding the alarm along with Mary Lee, Root Trackers by Yaira, whomever gets in this chat. It helps me to make the case for why we need to weaponize our vote and socialize our suffering. Or it's the end of the line. I've got so much to bring you about how it's already taken over Atlanta. I got so much to bring you. I can't do it all in one broadcast. This series is going to be long. So y'all might as well buckle up, but I'm going to try to bring you a few things as often as I can get over here to show you what's really going on. But you got demon rats crashing out. You don't see nothing but illegals in those streets. Why? Well, Negroes are starting to get it all over the country that we must put the mask on ourselves now. We don't have time to go out here and fly fist for all these groups that hate us and want our position. But another reason why you don't see us is that we're 3%. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the stats out here and what's going on as they tell us no to reparations, okay? Here in California, where the first study was dragged out for 2 years while new scum, got that from Trump, while Newscom drove a $96 billion surplus down to an $88 billion deficit on the pandemic and on these illegals and on the other immigrants. You got to see these stats. You got to see what they're doing with our taxes, our reparations, our Social Security. Let me share. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Welcome to the live. Hold on one second, family. I got to share my screen. So I asked AI, What is illegal immigration costing Southern California? AI says, well, we can't determine the precise cost of illegal immigration to Southern California specifically. That's challenging due to the difficulty in isolating regional data and the differing methodologies used in various studies. However, the available information focuses primarily on the statewide cost to California. Based on one perspective, California, as a quote-unquote sanctuary state, reportedly incurs significant costs related to illegal immigration. A 23 analysis by the Federation for American Immigration Reform, called FAIR, estimated that mass illegal immigration and certain state policies providing benefits and services to undocumented immigrants cost California taxpayers nearly $31 billion annually. $31 billion annually. We just had measly $12 million set aside to establish an agency, a Freedmen agency, so that we can start documenting paperwork to ensure that whatever reparations comes down the pike, it benefits us exclusively, while this state under Governor Newsom spends $31 billion annually. Let that sink in. And of that $12 million, they are seeking to give $6 million of the $12 million to the USCs to study how to approach the study of genealogy for an agency that they know that they're not going to ever launch, because that's difficult to do with 12 million. How you gonna do it on 6 million? And do know that the USC has been given 6 of those 12 million with no start and no end date on studying what tool to use to study genealogy to determine who the Negro is, when Negro is stamped on 22 million of our birth certificates. It automatically makes you a descendant of the emancipated. It's on my birth certificate. And if it's not on yours, more than likely it's on your mommy's or your grandmommy's. This is what they're doing while they spend $31 billion in the state of California, and we've been reduced in numbers down to about 3% when you exclude the melanated immigrants. Let's keep going. Of this total, approximately $22.8 billion was attributed to benefits and services provided to illegal immigrants in 22, while an additional $8 billion was spent on their U.S.-born children. U.S.-born children. I got to make myself bigger, y'all. U.S.-born children, meaning these illegals are using our 14th Amendment, of which the demon rats are fighting the Republicans on this issue in the courts, to try to make our 14A about illegals being able to step a foot into the country and birth citizens, to give them cause to crash out when the immigrants, the illegals, they're not immigrants, they're illegal criminals, are separated from their American children thanks to our 14A. They're crashing out all over the country when ICE is trying to perform their job and get the criminal element out of our communities. Mad Maxine Waters, thank you. Mad Karen Bass, all of them. Well, Karen Bass cosplay us, but she's fighting for Latinos as I speak. She's fighting for the Mexicans, which is her heritage. They say that she's got one parent from the Negro community And she's got another one from the Hispanic community. But all I've ever seen was Hispanic. I don't see black surrounding her unless we someplace screaming on her for not doing a hot damn thing for us down here. We are simply being taxed without representation. Let me get back. So keep in mind that what I'm sharing with you is happening annually. FAIR's analysis suggests that the annual cost per capita for these benefits and services is about $7,074. It is important to acknowledge that undocumented immigrants in California also contribute to the economy through taxes. Me speaking, that estimates indicate that undocumented Californians paid nearly $8.5 billion in state and local taxes in 22, including sales taxes, property taxes, and income taxes. So, what that means, family, is that we're subsidizing with our taxes the difference between what they're spending annually and what these undocumented Californians paid in state and local taxes in 22. $31 billion a year. AI didn't tell me how long this has been going on. $31 billion a year for undocumented Californians who paid nearly $8.5 billion in state and local taxes. Now, if they're paying $8.5 billion in state and local taxes in just the year 2022, but they make $11 or less per hour in the orange groves, then how in the heaven are you going to sit up here and have an argument with me that Jasmine, Crash Out, Crockett, and the rest of the Democratic Party? How are you going to argue me that $8.5 billion in state and local taxes was generated on less than $11 an hour jobs in the orange groves? Because you're flat out lying to the people in this country and not telling the truth that it has impacted us all the way up and through the executive levels. And until these companies go to jail and are fined up the wazoo for allowing undocumented people to work all the way up and through executive branches, this problem will continue. And as this problem continues, you will see more of our reparations, taxes, and Social Security being spent, coming and going. The Democrats create our problems, they want our votes, our reparations, our taxes, and Social Security to be the solution. And that's why I've got to continue to sound the alarm as often as I can to get you to understand, overstand, and understand how vitally critical it is to the lineage to go to war with the Democratic Party with the only commodity you've got left, your vote. This is not the time to sit on the couch when in every democratically ran city and state, Kamala pretty much won because the Democrats they steal elections, they steal primaries. And down here in California, when I tried to offer my ID at the voter table when I went to vote, they told me to put it away. That's happening throughout the country. I don't even know if we have all the data in on how many illegals voted in the last general. But when you are not enforcing ID at the voter polls, you can just use your imagination to fathom how many illegals now are voting in our elections. We've got to weaponize our vote and socialize our suffering. That is my point. Some sources argue that these tax contributions help to fund public services. Of course they do, with some portion of taxes going to our programs that undocumented immigrants are unable to access, such as Social Security and Medicare. Not in all cases, the Ukrainian refugees were able to get Social Security. So even AI is a whole lie. Right now, you got Bakari sellout, bootlick sellers crashing out all over CNN for illegals to get free health care, not the Negro, who's suffering the highest rates of unemployment, underemployment, evictions, and homelessness. While what? 70, what is it? I want to say 78% of the Negroes who turned out to vote voted for Skamala, and 90% of Negro women voted Skamala of those who turned out to the polls. I'm telling you that voting the couch is playing Negro roulette with the line. You must be intentional when you return these missiles. You can't play with it. Let's keep going. Here are some specific areas contributing to the estimated cost. While, let me say this, Negroes are denied these same benefits, these immigrants get all of what we're due to be made American. They get to experience being American before the Negro does, and we've been here since before America was formed. Healthcare. California expanded its Medicaid program, Medi-Cal, to include undocumented immigrants of all ages, which was expected to cost billions annually. Initial projections estimated a cost of $3 billion per year, but state officials recently stated they expect to spend $9.5 billion for undocumented immigrants, Medi-Cal, from fiscal year 24 to 25. This is more than $3 billion above original budget estimates. Now, I know I'm talking to you all about California. Why is that? I'm glad you asked. Well, we are the blueprint for how to ethnocide and economically genocide the Negro. It happened here first. It happened here first. So I'm dealing with this, but this applies to wherever you are in the country. This applies. So just think about it. You could do your own AI search for wherever you are and come up with similar numbers as to how your reparations is being spent. While you continue, not many of the people that follow me, I'm over here looking for my tribe. I'm looking for my revolutionary tribe. I'm not for everybody. I'm not for folks who are stuck on the demon rat cyanide. That's not what my channel is for. My channel is to attract people who want to join the revolution for Negroes, who want to weaponize the vote, who want to go to war with the demon rats. So if that's not you, this ain't for you. But I'm talking about our collective has still not awakened. And that's why the couch can be Negro roulette with the line. You got to be intentional and get out here and return them missiles. And if you notice, when the demon rats are in control of the country, we're the only ones in distress. Why is that? I'm glad you asked. Because they're all against us. That's why I call wanton white supremacy Crayola with 3 Ks. All of these groups, with very little exception, oppose the Negro. Oppose a Negro being repaired, oppose Negro towns that we could be building all over the country, akin to the Chinatowns and the Koreatowns and the little Ethiopias. So do know that wanton white supremacy is now Crayola, and they're all piled on top of us. And that's what we are trying to fight ourselves up off the bottom. The only way to do that, without them gunning us down in the street, because you can trust to believe if that was us challenging ICE deportations, they'd have opened fired. Crayola wanton white supremacists is in charge. And so they're not going to do that to those people who identify as white. Although they're giving them their nigger wake-up call. So not only is it costing healthcare, this is the same healthcare that if our people down here in California apply for, they don't qualify. No free healthcare for you. But you can go work 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs, and we'll tax you through the ass to make sure these illegals are covered. Let's keep going. I'm going to bring y'all the Bakari one in another broadcast. Like I said, I'm just going. I got this much to show y'all. Okay? That's why this series is, I'm leaning in. It's in the title for folks who want to know how we're going to do this. First and foremost, we must defeat the demon rats for their intentional neglect of the Negro. Let's keep going. I want to know if they're going to get to cash aid, EBT. It is important to note that these are estimates. That's another thing. Whenever they give you an estimate, multiply it by at least 3 to 5. They like to sit here and say they only allowed 12 million illegals into the country in the course of 4 years. How about 12 million a month? It's more like it. So they're not going to really get into this particular AI about the cash aid, about the EBT programs that they've received. They're not talking about that. They're not talking about that in that particular AI overview. But do know that this is far more. Thank you, sweetheart. Mary Lee says, keep preaching. I love you, sis. I'm going to definitely come back and get your comments and memorialize them here. What time is it? 12:37. Okay. Yeah. They're not going to talk to you about how our seniors are becoming homeless in record number out here. They're not going to talk to you about how our seniors and our collective at large are denied cash aid, are denied EBT, which is food stamps, electronic benefits. They're not going to tell you about that, because that's what it's being used on as well. They're not going to tell you about how they're giving them licenses. They don't have to really prove that they can drive. Giving them cars, giving them scooters, giving them an American way of life while criminalizing homelessness, akin to what they did back in the day. If you were found loitering and didn't have a job in the South, you was going to jail to work for free. Let's keep going, because now I want to show y'all how the union president of SEIU, okay, has gotten arrested for trying to interfere with ICE arrests. Let's go. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Welcome to the live. I might have to put my glasses on, y'all. This is kind of small. East Texas. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to get to the exact. Here we go. Now, the president of California's largest union, David Huerta, was targeted and kidnapped by ICE during their illegal raids in Los Angeles. Huerta is a U.S. citizen. He stood his ground against the regime troops terrorizing the city. He got in the way, is what he did. Okay, let's take a look. This is So what you see here is the union is now getting involved. Meaning out here, They're setting up these unions akin to that Maryland man. It's probably already happening. I just don't have a news story about it. Remember that one that they were crashing out about, that Maryland man who was MS-13? And they want to try to paint him out to be a family man, to be all these amazing, wonderful, upstanding citizen things when he was a whole MS-13 gang member. Remember how I shared with you all in a previous broadcast how he was earning $33 per hour in the trades, in the union? Well, that's happening here in California. The president was arrested because he was impeding on ICE to get involved to arrest the illegal criminals that are clearly a part of the union. Our own police don't get involved to assist ICE. They're literally outnumbered. ICE is outnumbered because the police won't get involved because they are part of the criminal cartels down here. They're protecting the people in those gangs. So they're not going to come out to assist ICE with nothing. ICE has literally had to get clever and show up to the asylum hearings to arrest these people there. Arrest the illegal criminals at their asylum hearings because they're illegally here, and as soon as they're denied asylum, they're out there to arrest them. But you got the libtards and the demon rats crashing out to say they want them to have a due process that they've been afforded. Okay? You got your asylum hearing, but now you're angry that ICE is doing their job as soon as you're denied asylum that you never needed. Can y'all only imagine if Kamala had gotten elected, the Negro would have just, they might as well just line us up and just blow us away, because that's exactly what she would have done in terms of her policy. She would have made a good 50 million DACA and illegal criminals legal to the extinction of the Negro that's barely hanging on. So these police aren't getting involved. New scum is not going to make them get involved. Trump needs to withhold the federal funding the way he threatened to. This is the time to do it. Let's keep going. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notification. Welcome to the live. And it's happening all over the country. I'm just specifically talking about California because this is where I am and where they turning it out, okay? Stand by. Let me stop sharing that. No, I don't want to watch that again. Hold on, guys. I got to clean up this stuff and get some of this stuff off of here so I can get to the videos I want to share. I got a few more to share, then I'll go to your comments, pray us out, and do my best to get to you before church tomorrow, since I've got something to do after church tomorrow, okay? Stand by. So East Texas says, fire up the AMRAPs. We need teams in New York City and Miami immediately, and all them LA protesters need to be checked. Oh yeah, round them up and ship them out. Countries have borders for a reason, and citizenship matters. Let's play this one for you. So it says U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents on Friday carried out a series of immigration sweeps. The raids are the latest in a string of immigration enforcement actions, part of President Trump's promised deportation crackdown, which we voted for. Here we go. Mary Karen Bass said that such raids. So let's listen to this. The one who cosplays blackness to do the caping for immigrant and illegals alike. Who's got immigrants all up and through, Mexicans all up and through her family. Karen Bass said that such raids sow terror in our communities and disrupt basic principles of safety in our city. We will not stand for this. Do you hear any of them coming out about the sister that was just murdered by the 6 illegals? I think 3 or 4 of them was under 15. Yeah, they went out to rob her and murdered her. You don't see these demon rats crashing out about that. You see them crashing out about illegal criminals in the state and in the country at large. Let's keep going. As of Friday evening, it's not known yet how many people have been taken into custody. Protesters Little Mexico. Abolish police. Let's go now. So that's what the demon rats are doing in the demon radically run state of California. Let's keep going. Just a few more to show you. And I can pray us out and do our declaration, okay? The Black Vanguard Soldier wrote, I'm at the State of the Power People Tour in Los Angeles. The non-foundational Black American Indian Jamaican Kamala Harris is at it again, trying to say she's Black. It's too late to act like you're pro-Black now after you let in 20 to 30 million illegals into the community, giving them resources. Also, they are trying to tie our struggle to immigrants. Also, we watch how she was against reparations for Black people on the federal level. How Kamala Harris was one of the ones that told the California Legislative Black Caucus to not allow the reparations bills to go forward at the DNC convention in Chicago, of which convention, oh, by the way, had an abortion truck out front. They were giving abortions and vasectomies at that DNC convention in Chicago, while there to solicit the Black vote. Now, I want you to understand, overstand, and understand why she's now reappearing. Because new scum will turn out. Rumor has it that he's planning to run for president. And so she is seeking to become the governor here. And when you've turned into Little Mexico, that's not a stretch. Unless we get out in Obama-style numbers and defeat her and the rest of the libtard demon rats. We need everybody out to protest vote against our economic genocide with these illegals and immigrants alike. So that is what she's doing. Yes, thank you, Mary Lee. Karen Bass married to a Latino and raised his, not her daughters. I recall that. I don't think they're still married, but I do recall that. But to my knowledge, her father is Mexican. Yes, it was heinous root trackers. Abortion clinics in Chicago for a week during the Demon Rat primaries, as the Demon Rats allow illegals to birth citizens with our 14A. Let that sink in. Thank you. I'll be over in just a second. But I want you to understand, overstand, and understand what the grift is about. She wants to become governor if she doesn't run for president again. And so we've got to make sure the demon rats are defeated. We can't afford to play Negro roulette with the line. Our children are relying on us to be very revolutionary and get up off the couch and do something about it. And this is why these immigrants have taken over in every branch of politics. Because y'all niggardly vote the couch and don't get out here and run for office, one. And number two, defeat them at the polls with a protest vote. This is about us surviving. At this point, neither party is for reparations. So you can't allow these immigrants to take over in politics, because you see what's happened to our reparations out here. Absolutely nothing. Because you're demanding it of a people that want your position. Pan-Africans and immigrants and illegals are in unison when it comes to telling us no. So their representatives are in unison as well. Let's keep going. This is another way that they're seeking to destroy the Negro. The NAACP, a nonprofit organization receiving taxpayer funds through grants and federal support, has issued a cease and desist order aiming to exclude freedmen whom Juneteenth commemorates. In response, we have filed a federal civil rights complaint. Now, I want to bring this up. Look at what the very disrespectful ass NAACP is doing. Look at these colors. These are Pan-African colors that we've been fighting against. This is happening all throughout the country. I had to tie this in because it is imperative if we want to seize the narrative and seize the profits from our own Holocaust. That means boycotting the disrespect. We have to starve these immigrants out. You've got white folks misrepresenting us in Juneteenth, and immigrants, and illegals, and Pan-Africanists. And the NAACP has gotten in on the act. Dear Office for Civil Rights, please find attached a formal Title 6 complaint submitted on behalf of the Freedmen Reparations Fund Trust. This complaint outlines the misuse of federal funds by the NAACP through cultural misrepresentation of Juneteenth and the exclusion of verified freedmen from associated programming. We respectfully request a formal investigation under Title 6 of the Civil Rights Act of '64. Included in this complaint is reference to FOIA case number 2025 FO 00112, issued by the U.S. Department of Treasury. The full response can be provided upon request. Please confirm receipt and advise if additional documentation is required. This is sincerely Arthur Watkins. Now, he's got an American Freedmen Legal Fund if you want to donate. Okay? We should have donations on recurring to this brother, because he is very, very active in helping us to fight the puckery that's going on to upend us, to ethnocide and economically genocide us. So I'm imploring upon all of you. This is the only example I'll give because Juneteenth is on the horizon. But I want to stress to you that it is imperative that we only participate that's true, Mary. Well, it has nothing to do with immigrants. You're absolutely correct. But what I'm trying to state, that's what I'm sorry for the long pause, you all. I'll try to edit it out. But I was reading Mary's comments. No, Juneteenth has nothing to do with immigrants, white folks, none of it. This is the problem when you fight for symbolism. You see, not me. We were celebrating Juneteenth just fine before someone fought long and hard for Juneteenth to become a national, a federal holiday. But how retarded is that? You're giving the descendants of our colonizers the day off. You're paying them, you're giving them a paid federal day off in the name of our Holocaust. Does this go down with Jews? No. Only the Negroes are disrespected in this way. And then they don't even make it a standard nationally that you can't put up all these panty colors. You can't be out there selling all of your merch. So I am using this, Mary, thank you, as an opportunity to stress that we need to boycott. We are still 40 million to, I think, about, what's 14%? They're 14% to our 86%. They might be 20% now after 4 years of Obama and the borders are Skamala. Let's say we're 40 million. They may, let me just look it up. I'm not going to guess. Hold on 1 second. Let me ask AI. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Thank you in advance. I'm going to ask AI. What percent of Blacks in the U.S. is immigrant? I said Blacks because they flat black us. They're saying approximately 10% of the Black population in the U.S. are immigrants. This means that around 4.6 million Black people in the U.S. were born outside the country. Well, that doesn't really help me. That doesn't really help me because they're not including first and second gen, whom I consider melanated immigrants. In other words, if I were born of Negro parents in Jamaica, it doesn't make me Jamaican. In the same way, it doesn't make them Black American. I know they cosplay us. We're fighting for delineation as well. Okay, we're not just fighting for reparations, we're fighting for delineation too. So they're saying 4.6 million. Okay, the bottom line is we are still at least 10 times bigger than them. Which means if we move as a block and boycott these events that are put on by the panties, that are put on by the immigrants, that are put on by the white folks, we can starve them out. If they're not selling Negro food, if the Negroes aren't controlling the food trucks, if the Negroes merchandise ain't right, if they flags ain't right, if they colors ain't right, boycott. That's why I had to bring this in here because that's coming fast on us. Yeah, Juneteenth is coming up. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. So that's all I'm telling you to do. If you show up, if they don't have your music, your food, your merch, your flag, your colors, get out of there and go find one that does. Okay? That's all I got to say on that. Next. I'll be over shortly, guys. Oh my God, it's almost 1. Okay. Okay, so Ann Coulter shared this. 41% of Black freshmen at Ivy League colleges were immigrants or the children of immigrants. That isn't the purpose of affirmative action, set-asides, or racial preferences. It's to make up for the legacy of slavery in America. Okay? So here you've got her fighting. This was back in 2019 when she posted this. But I want to speak on it because this is also happening in our colleges. I ask AI. Let me share my screen. Hold on, family. I ask AI, what percent of the HBCUs is immigrant? immigrant. Let's share the response. I got something to say. As always. While specific data on the percentage of immigrant students attending HBCUs is not readily available, and me speaking, that is because they have flat blacked us to ethnocide us in blackness based on skin tone and not lineage. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Flat black is the way to erase and replace us with melanated immigrants who only claim to be black when it's time to take advantage of benefits that Ann Coulter spoke on were there and written for us to benefit, and we benefit the least. Let's keep going. Immigrant students make up a significant portion of the higher education student population in general, and this trend likely extends to HBCUs as well. Immigrant origin students comprise 32% of all undergraduate students in 22, according to the Higher Ed Immigration Portal. Additionally, a significant portion of Black students in higher education are either first or second generation immigrants. Now, why is this important to discuss? Because this is where AIPAC goes to the HBCUs to pull political talent from, and they're only choosing those mostly immigrant to pay them to undermine us, even if you're Negro. Like folks constantly want to throw in my face that Wes Moore is part Negro, part Jamaican. I don't give a damn. His Jamaican part, of which is coming up in a future broadcast, said no to a study after the legislative body said yes. And that body has yet to come out against him to veto and shut down his no to a study, as he's setting up a campaign to go on the election cycle and run for president down in South Carolina. This is why this is problematic. My daughter got so much pressure at her HBCU during the election cycle because it was a full court press sandwiched between the LGBTQ and the Black immigrants trying to force her to vote for demon rights against her own interest. So the demon rights and AIPAC are involved in this. This is where they're getting the talent that is now taking over the congressional Black caucuses who sit up here and want to study, and you see how the study in California went. This is where they're getting their talent. And this is why it's problematic that a third of the student body, I would venture to say more than that, is immigrant. They've taken over administratively. They've taken over the student body to the devastation of the Negro. The Negroes I've seen with the strongest voices out of the HBCU are in the Repugnant Klan party. I'm an independent. I don't think we should be party loyal. I think we should be Negro loyal. All of us should be registered independents and move as a block when it comes to policies. And since neither party is for reparations, then you've got to make sure you can survive. And that means you've got to be prioritizing deportation, closed borders. As I mentioned prior, I don't even know if I finished my thought, that when the demon rats are in control of the country, we're the only ones in distress. Look at how our suffering has been socialized across groups with the repugnant clans in charge. And although conditions haven't improved that much, there's a slight improvement in the job numbers for our Black men now that Trump is getting rid of these illegals. I've seen down in Florida where they ICE came and raided a whole entire construction site. I do want to put you up on game that they were using illegals on a construction site at one of them universities down there. I'll be bringing that. Like I said, my list, please. I'll be bringing it to you. But they literally were using illegals on universities and on housing in Florida. And now that ICE has come through and raid, which I believe that some of these construction sites are literally calling ICE so they don't have to pay the illegals for the job that they've already done. Yeah. Game on game on game. Just like I believe this fight between Trump and Elon is about the demon rats buying these EVs. Yeah, the reparationist perspective be putting things together a little differently than the rest. Yeah. All political theater. This is why we must weaponize our vote, because our suffering has been socialized. Everybody take it to the streets, and we doing line dances everywhere I see. We're resting, watching them implode. And that's what we need to be doing. And the only way to do that is to ensure and guarantee we show up to these polls to vote for deportation closed border candidates. And ensure the demon rats never get back in control. If they do, it's because they stole it. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, Lord, it's after 1. Okay, I got just a couple more things. I know I keep saying that, but I really tried to limit it to bring you just a couple of nuggets today. I'll be back. I got to come back because, yeah, it's just too much and to do. I can't do it all in one broadcast. Okay. Just a second, Wall. Idiosme says, America is not a hate-filled nation. It was built by American slaves whose descendants, Ados, should have all the spoils of an American life. Instead, immigrants come to HBCUs like FAMU to benefit from Ados people, while their ancestors never built America nor the HBCUs. Absolutely correct. To my point. We've got to shut it down. We've got to get behind candidates who want deportation, closed borders. And we've got to support them with our votes. Stop playing Negro roulette with the line. Stand by. I'm cleaning up these others so I can see where I'm at when I share the screen again. So I want to talk about this one last infraction. That is to my point of why the demon rats must be defeated. And then I'll get to your comments and pray us out. Thank you for joining the live. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you. Okay. Now, this is on Facebook. Shout out to Rodney Williams, who states, oh, boy, sometimes it's just way too small. Reparations are for the Negro who built the U.S. You better get involved. There are demonic imposters like her who will sabotage our unique claim. The immigrant personally chose to migrate to this racist country. Black immigrants, your claim is back in your country of origin. They not like us. And as I say, they ain't us. Damn are not like us. They ain't us. I got a couple of episodes that you can scroll through the archives and see that series. Don't let no one steal your cheese, especially those scamming Africans like the Nigerians, for an example. Pan-Africanism is very dangerous to the reparations movement. You Negroes being lazy. Meanwhile, the Black immigrants are holding all kind of high offices in Congress. The governor of Maryland and the Black immigrant female lieutenant governor of Virginia, who is very arrogant, by the way. This Black immigrant politicians could care less about you Negroes, yet your Negro vote got them into office. They have a whole other agenda. Let me stand corrected on that. I would venture to say it's not always our vote that gets these people elected. I share with you that these people are Crayola wanton white supremacists, right? That means the regular white folks love these kind. They love the Crayolas because they can get them to do their bidding. Crayolas with 3 Ks. They can get them to do their bidding while not getting their hands dirty. So this is Jam Anwar, who claims that she's got FBA in her lineage, but she's African. Okay, so she's an African. And to me, that's what she caters to, a Pan-African way of being and existing in the country of our ancestors. Reparations, she states, is not just for FBA, but for immigrants as well. This is what she stated. I'm going to bring it to you in another video, but this is what she absolutely stated in this video that I saw, and this is the fight all throughout the country. Pan-Africans getting in the way like the Crayolas they are to deny us lineage-based cash repair. If you notice, ever since we fought and won lineage-based cash reparations, at least our position won. Here in California, now they've got these immigrants, these melanated immigrants, these Crayola wanted white supremacists at every one of our reparations table. They're the ones controlling the narrative. They're the ones that were controlling HR 40 till we got involved and shut it down after getting it to about 200 signatures. That's a whole nother Oprah for a whole nother day. I cannot with what we were led to do. But this was our humble beginnings, and we successfully stopped that study that they wanted to be paid $20 million to study us into perpetuity and to try and tie melanated immigrants into our justice claim. All the while, we're not entitled to anything they got going on in the Caribbean or in Africa. Africa don't even have it set up. They were the ones to sell us into slavery, but they don't have it set up where we can have dual citizenship, where we can have land, where they're prepared to pay us reparations. Nothing like that. What they want is for you to move to Africa and build it up on your backs and on your finances, akin to the way you did in chattel slavery. Our ancestors did in chattel slavery to build the wealthiest country in the world. That's what Africans want us back in Africa to do, not to make us whole. And they're jealous of you. Go to visit if you choose, but I would not be uprooting our American way of life to go there. And now you see them trying to convince us that going to Africa is better on us as they clamor to get in here. That's the play. To erase and replace us with themselves. Get us over in Africa that's underdeveloped, and that the colonizers are fewer in number but run every damn thing from the Asians and the whites. They want us to go over there and be oppressed by the few in number that they're oppressed by, as their government sells them out, akin to the way the demon rats have sold us out. I'd rather fight the enemy I know than to uproot my comforts, my creature comforts, to go to Africa and have my back and my lineage broken, trying to build the continent that betrays its own people. That is fully invested in tribalism. They taught us tribalism. They taught us how to put up the gate. And so this is what happens when you don't weaponize your vote and socialize your suffering. You get a bunch of these jam and war types in control of our politics. These are the ones they're going to give all the news media to, all the coverage to, while demonetizing my channel and shadow banning me so that my voice doesn't get out there, so my position doesn't get out there, so my fight for Negroes don't get known nationwide. Yeah, that's what's happening. And so, yeah, you need to return the missile, show to these polls, give up your couches, and make sure you secure the line. With that being said, let's get to your comments. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance. So I'm only going to go through the pertinent ones. Mary says, we needed a president like Trump 20 years ago. No lies detected, fam. No lies detected. We needed Trump 20 years ago. But we too busy sheep walking to the polls based on identity and respectability potluck tricks, voting in covert races versus the overt races we put into power now. Because the covert races are very much about our ethnocide. At least the Repugnant clans are about us being prioritized, not the Repugnant clans at large. Let me stand corrected. MAGA, Trump, tends to speak more on our 14A. He's the one fighting for our 14A to be preserved for us exclusively, while the demon rats and the justice system is trying to find a way to tie immigrants into our 14A, to continue feeding us abortion while making sure they can continue to grow in number. Since white folks can't give birth the way they once did, what they do is make all these other groups, especially the lighter complected ones, they make them white, akin to the Irish, akin to the Italians, akin to the Jews. Now the Latinos. Not us, though. They'll skip over us and make the blue blacks with money be able to identify as white before they'll allow a Negro to. Not that a Negro ever would want to. Negroes are fighters. We don't want to ever identify as white. We love being Negro. We're proud of what we've done to build the wealthiest country in the world. Proud of our intellect, proud of our beauty, our brilliance, our fight. These other people, always remember, if they fled their own countries, how would you expect allegiance from them concerning the Negro? How would you expect them to fight for your repair, to fight for you to be made whole, when they wouldn't even do it in their own countries for their own countrymen? Yes, you made it, Yair. Thank y'all. And thanks to the 17 over here and whomever's tuning in from ScrewTube. I thank y'all for being here. Oh, thank you, Marilee. She said, do what I can when I can. Honey, at the rate the news is cycling, I got to find a way. You know what I'm going to do? I was discussing this with Yaira. I'm going to start using my avatar, because sometimes I can't get on here until late. And I don't feel like doing all this. It's a lot of work. And I don't feel like it. So I will be back more often, but you will probably see it more in a podcast format with my avatar being used, because that's the only other way I would come on Sundays because I was already gussied up from church service. So, in order to come more often, I must be able to use my avatar. I thank you for understanding in advance, okay? Because sometimes, honey, I got to be talking to y'all with my bonnet on, with my PJs on, and just get it out there, okay? I really do. I have a lot to bring. I'm going to try to do that. I'm not going to overpromise and underdeliver. Let's just chew the elephant one bite at a time. Thank you, Mary Lee. Mad Maxine Waters. Yeah. Mad Maxine, Mad Karen Bass, Mad, what's that other black chick's name? Barbara Lee. Yeah. Who's that coon that was the co-chair of the Cali Reparations Task Force? Amos Brown. Reginald Jones Sawyer. All of them working to ethnocide the Negro. And we've got to fight back with what? The only commodity we've got left. Hold on. What did I miss? Lee is meeting with illegal Latinos today to help in LA. This is what I'm talking about. We're simply being taxed without representation, and we're being legislated out of the state. And my question, yet again, I'll continue to repeat it, like Paul Mooney says, till my teeth turn white. When the nation becomes California, where is the Negro going and with what? Ain't no country in the world gonna do for us what our country has done with our reparations for them. Not a one. The voter ID war exists, says Yaira. Yes, it does. They don't want you to show ID because they want illegals to be able to vote in your name. And most of our people are still stuck on stupid. Yes, Mary Lee, that's why I got to be over here more often. Even if it's with an avatar, you can't see me. Oh, well, that may have to be reduced to 1 to 2 times a week on the weekends. But during the work week, my work is too intense, and I got to just come and get it out. Children of illegals get Social Security, and illegals have a CAPI program, cash assistance programs for immigrants. Yes, Mary Lee, there's a laundry list of other entitlements that I'll be bringing you in future broadcasts. I'm just going down the line. I thank you for sharing. No, please still share. But I've got a laundry list of immigrant benefits that we don't qualify for. You can't apply for. And if you attempt to apply for it, you will be denied. You can't even apply for your own EBT and cash aid. They have stopped that for Americans. They've stopped it or are in the process of stopping it or lowering it, while they continue to get all their programs. Their programs haven't gone away. Ours have. Trump is getting rid of programs that benefit our poor in the namesake of trying to starve out the illegals. These are the programs he needs to go after. I know a young man who works full-time and he can't afford to pay $300 a month for the insurance his employer provides and denied state Medi-Cal program here in California. Mary Lee, that's reminiscent of most Negroes that are still in the state, scratching and surviving. They don't get free health care. While what did I share in this video? New Scum has spent $31 billion annually, $22 billion on health care for illegals to be cared for that haven't paid into the tax base because they just got here. This is happening across benefits, cash aid, and EBT as well. Our people are denied while they're made American. And they are now in control of the politics down here, which is why you got nothing coming when you allow, with your black vote, a bunch of these immigrants to get into office. They will continue to deny you. Well, a couple of them will pretend to be for you. Haven't been a demon rat since I can vote. You're very wise. Keep preaching. I'm doing my best, Mary Lee, and I'm so grateful for your support. SEIU has always been leading the charge. Well, yeah, they're really undermining us now. They're hiring illegals and unionizing them and giving them higher paying trade jobs, of which I highly implore our people to get your trade game up. And when you see these raids on these construction sites, go over there and negotiate yourself an American wage or walk away with some advance. That's who Donald Trump, Mary Lee, needs to be punishing these corporations, because deporting all these people is for naught if our people, especially the Negro, cannot make an American wage. There is a law against the police departments getting involved. They will be charged with a felony. That's here in California. Well, that may be true, but I also believe they don't want to get involved because they're Little Mexico, and many of them are involved with these gangs and the cartels. So there may be a law. I won't deny that because I haven't researched it. I don't know, but I do know what we've been subjected to as the Negro people under their rule and domain of that police force. That's what I know. She says, SEIU is doing what exactly, Mary Lee? Supporting illegals. Has always supported illegals. Yaira says it was heinous abortion clinics in Chicago for a week during the Demon Rat primary. I think I read that already. Bass isn't married anymore, but she is married to illegal Hispanics. That's it. Bass, Harris, and Newscomb, political careers are over. I can only hope and pray we flip California red, Mary Lee, or we don't stand a chance. I'm literally going to have to start rethinking some things because it is out of control down here. And Mary, we went over that. Juneteenth has absolutely nothing to do with immigrants. If you know where a celebration is being held by non-Americans, advise our people to boycott and call ICE on them, child. That's what y'all do. Boycott and call ICE. NAACP is full of immigrants working for immigrants. Honey, they've always been full of Jews pretending to work for black folks' interests, only using black folks to get ahead the way they are in control of the country now. As we continue to use our tax dollars on Jews, even in Texas, there was a local town. I'm going to bring you the story, so I'm not going to go through it here. A local town saw where $4 million of their local taxes was being spent on Israel. When they sought to stop it, Abbott, the governor of the state of Texas, told them they had to keep that money flowing. They wanted to stop it to use that money on their town, in education, in the roads, in places where they're having challenges as a community. Abbott said, no, you have to keep that $4 million flowing to Israel, who NAACP was funded by, the Jews, that are now undermining us at every turn, even our own Juneteenth. Keep going. I'm making comments for the chat to read. I'm your non-hype sister. Well, honey, your comments are always lit, and I so enjoy your contribution to the channel. So you be here, because I'm always here. I'm always on 5,000, child. So I'm on it for enough of us. The black immigrant percentage is higher, I bet. Yes, root trackers. Now you're learning how to do demon rat math. But at the rate ICE is going, the percentages are dwindling. Not fast enough for my taste, but look at the opposition. Look at what ICE is having to fight. Injunctions, the libtards, the demon rats, politicians. Listen, they got a lot they're up against. They're earning their keep. But that's what I mean by us paying, coming and going. Our reparations was used to flood the country with about 25 to 30 million illegals. Now our reparations are being used to get them out of the country. All the while saying we ain't got it for reparations. Just stay away from those events if not by our people. Agreed. Ann Coulter has been going hard for us. I first seen her 20 years ago. Yes, she has, Mary Lee, but she ain't for reparations. So I ain't giving her that much credit, but I will promote when she's making sense. I want Trump to cut HBCU funding ASAP. I'm torn because my daughter benefits from some of that funding. And the challenge is it's very difficult for us to afford the HBCUs, Mary Lee. Those schools are on the average 50 to 100,000. I think Howard being the most. Let's see real quick. Asking AI. What? Here, let me speak it. What is the median price for HBCU? What? Hold on. For HBCU. Well, they're saying the average cost of attending an HBCU is $7,362 annually for in-state students and $15,454 annually for out-of-state students. Let me ask about Howard. I know they're up there. My friend spent, I think, $90,000 a year. And that's for tuition and dorm fees. The median price to attend Howard University is around $30,028 per year after counting for aid and scholarships. This includes tuition fees, room and board, and other expenses. The net price, which is the average cost after aid, is around $30,028. The total cost of attendance, which includes tuition fees, room and board, and other expenses, is $51,450. That's what our schools are costing us, Mary Lee. I don't know what that other stuff is about, but if you go to an HBCU at the Atlanta University Center, Hampton, Howard, some of the more notable ones, I'm sure some of the smaller ones are less expensive, but the majors are averaging about $50,000 a year. And that's why you've got immigrants who are getting all these benefits and entitlements, who by and large, if you are melanated, you come from money, because that's the only ones they allow into this country these days. That's why you see them taking over our HBCUs. So the sad part is if he stops funding for the HBCUs, that's going to cancel many Negroes. Or else we'll have to get strung out on more student loan debt, which we can't afford to do. So I get your sentiment, but because my daughter benefits and lots of Negro children would not be able to attend without that support, we got to keep that. What are we going to do if he stops funding and Negroes can't afford to go by and large? You're talking about more than 30%. The immigrants will take it over. Wouldn't be good. Thank you, Direct. A wise young man warned us of this almost 2 years ago. A paper genocide. Ty Direct, I think is the name. Ty Direct. Yes, I have to look him up. Mary Lee, I've been sounding the alarm too since around 2019 when Skamala threw her hat in the ring. You may just be finding me, but I've got over 400 videos on these issues, and I stood up against immigration at all of the task force hearings that I attended. Yeah, because to me, reparations and immigration is diametrically opposed. So I knew they were lying when I saw how hard they were working to erase and replace us here. You're talking out the side of your neck to pretend to be for reparations. And where are we now after all of that testimony? Right where I said we'd be. Losing numbers rapidly because we can no longer afford to be here as a collective. So yeah. To be honest, this is our fault. We vote for all black face. Mary Lee, I can't argue with you. I cannot argue with you. I remember being as excited as the rest of the country over the white elected and selected Barack Obama. But truthfully, him failing to do anything for Negroes and standing against our lineage-based cash reparations was how I got here. That's how the contemporary grassroots reparations movement was born. And with the advent of the internet and social media, the revolution is being social mediaized. When you're dealing with a California that's overwrought with immigrants, that's why you don't see me in these streets. This is Little Mexico. And when I'm in our communities, it's a bunch of Crayola wanton white supremacists who will literally throw my literature down in the street. The only way for me to reach us is around the Skid Rows or like Leimert Park, places like that for Juneteenth festivals, just different things like that is where you will find more of us, where you can actually get your talking points off. In the beginning, I would be able to bless the stages down there and speak on what's happening. So I've got to do more of that. But to try to be boots on the ground in a place where you're 3% of the population, well, no. And you're right. We're 3% of the population because the black vote did this for so many years and has wiped us out. And Negro marriage and babies is the real revolution. Lots of folks want to talk to me about different politicians who are half Negro, half immigrant. They're fighting for their immigrant side because that's where it's profitable. It's not profitable to fight for their Negro side. They don't use or expend their energy in that way. That's why I say Negro marriage and babies is the real revolution, okay? You can't vote for any immigrants, period, point blank. When I am here in California and I don't know, like some of these judges that I have to vote on and I don't really know, I'm not voting for anyone with an immigrant name. But they're catching on to that, y'all. And the Caribbeans, a lot of them share our last names too. They may spell it slightly different, but you got to look at spelling. You got to look at names, especially when you don't know if they're Demon Rat or Repugnant Clan. Because remember, this is a protest vote. This is us returning the missiles, guaranteeing that Demon Rats that they're punished for their intentional neglect of the Negro. This is a punishing kind of thing. They've been declaring war on us for the past 70 years. That's how we got to the bottom caste. So it's time to return the missiles. And the way to do that is to make sure you're not voting for immigrants. And that's hard to do because by and large, only immigrants are running. Only immigrants are being financed by Demon Rat dollars to undermine and work against us. So therein lies a huge challenge when it comes to us even being able to run. We don't have the money to run like that. We don't. And so we have to social mediaize and do phone banking and all these kind of things to try to reach our people. But you got to make sure in the meantime and in between time, if you're going to deal with a racist, at least not vote for the ones that look like you. Because the white ones, at least the antebellum whites, not the Ellis Island whites. The antebellum whites are more prone to be for Negroes than they are the rest of this foolishness that's going on, because their salaries are suffering too. I'll show you that in another broadcast, okay? Not enough of us to go independent. That's absolutely correct. So I vote Republican so all can be in distress. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. I don't know what you mean, Mary. Give me some clarity around that verbiage. Not enough of us to go independent. If we're 50 million in the country and we all went independent and moved as a block to defeat the demon rats, we could do it. We're still the swing. Not for much longer. But we're the swing because we've been voting against our own interest, by and large, by voting demon rat, okay? Hone it and save to the next, sis. I don't know what that means. You are bringing it home. Thank you, darling. Root, are you FBA or supporting? Winsome Sears has to vote her out. Yes. Reparations from the countries you fled from. Hi, Ivy Dreams. Welcome to the live, my love. I know I've been gone for a minute, y'all. I had to go move my daughter home for the summer. Mother's Day came around. And then there was some other event that conflicted with me. Sundays are my best days. Today I'm coming early because I've got to go to work a little later this afternoon. So I just had to get one in. I'm going to try to get one in tomorrow because I've got other events to attend tomorrow after church. I'm going to do my best to get over here before I go to church. Don't hold me to it. That's the plan right now, to bring more because I got so much to do. I got to get caught up. The news is cycling way too fast, and I've got some very important things to share with you all. Rude Tracker says, I am FBA through and through. I'm a professional genealogist. I also have Native American roots. I have my Cherokee Nation sovereignty. I don't use the term FBA, though. She uses BANF, which is Black American Negro Freedman. I use Negro. That's on my birth certificate, okay? But it's all the same. All right. But I do prefer, if I do any of those newfound acronyms, I do prefer Black American Negro Freedman, BANF. Mary Lee says, I use plain old American. I love it. Mary says, I seen a video of a Somali cosplaying us, telling us to go open real estate offices in African countries while he's been here 20 years. Mary Lee, I'm bringing that video. Ain't that about a blip? He made a very compelling, convincing argument until you realize he's telling you what to go over there and do while not doing it his damn self. I can't wait to bring that one, Mary Lee. That's going to be rich. We must fight to stop birthright citizenship. The 14th A is for Black American Negro Descendants. Yes, you're right, Ivy Dreams. We must fight with everything in us to make sure. We need to fight for all of it. If we can get the 14A, that's going to get rid of a lot of these newfound citizens birthed by illegal criminals. It's going to get rid of a lot of people in terms of their citizenship here. So that's going to be a great thing for us to get protections around that. And let's always remember who made it, who brought this up for discussion, who made this a hot topic, our 14A. Donald Trump. Not Joe Crow, not Kamala, not Obama, not the Clintons with 3 Ks. Donald Trump, whom far too many of our people love to hate, when he's the only one to fight for our 14A. He's the only one to state out of his mouth that we built this country, even though he tried to give white folks a little credit. He was the only one I've ever heard give us credit for that. He's the only one fighting to clean up the country and get these illegals out of here. Unvetted, unvaxxed. Who did that? Joe, Crow, and Skamala. So let's not get amnesia. Okay? So yes, we must fight for our 14A and everything else. Hi, Reps. I'm so late. I know you're wrapping up. But have they had any updates to the 14th Amendment Supreme Court hearing? They were supposed to have a second live hearing, but they canceled day of the hearing. No, sweetheart. Reps, keep me posted, love, at the Rep Perspect at Gmail. I've not seen anything in all of the things I've been viewing. You know, I bring you a lot of X-Files because that's where a lot of politics is happening for me. But I've not seen, it's been quiet on the 14A front. So if you all know or see anything, have any sightings in places where I'm not, please Gmail me and I will do a live around it. But 14A is critical. Our politicians are afraid to say what Trump and culture say. They know we don't support. It's not that they're afraid, sweetheart, Mary Lee. This is by design. The goal of the demon rats is to ethnocide, economically genocide us and replace our vote. They don't like that our third eye, which is our first eye, is wide open and that we're hip to their pally tricks, okay? They don't like that at all. That's why they're crashing out. So the ones that look like you and I are more than likely coons or they're tethers. That's why you won't hear from them. From either party. Both are working against our interest. I'm just saying. The ICE tip line is 866-DHS-2-ICE. Thank you, Ivy Dreams. Rep says, exactly, it's too many scary-ass black people in politics that don't talk like TRP. Baby, I love us Negro freedmen strong. Yes, I do. Amen to that. That's why I have to come back. Because folks out here playing with it. Well, maybe that's why they got bigger platforms than me. Because I talk too much. I never shut up. And I say what most folks won't. Oh, well, it is what it is. Okay, use the avatar, said Mary Lee. Yes, just do audio. Will y'all come over here and play with me in the chat if I just do my audios? Because that's what I'm concerned about. Lots of folks love the lives because they get to see me, right? I was wondering, are y'all going to come back if I'm just on audio and showing my slides that way? I hope so, because I got to say what I got to say, and I got a lot to say. Thank you so much for even coming on, period. Oh, Reps, you are so welcome, baby. Let's see here. We listening with ours on. Thank y'all. I love y'all so much. Yes, I do. Karen Bass can get arrested by the feds too. Please take her. Yeah, amen to that. Y'all can all catch that work. Come on, Holman. Get on down here. Arrest them all. Because their pennies are in a bunch that the judges who have been giving cover to illegals are now being arrested. Arrest them all. Throw them under the jail. Yeah, that's why AOC lay low. In fact, her district in New York is effed up because she's not doing anything. Yeah, that's correct, Yaira. None of them are. Wherever you are and it's dominated by demon rat pally tricks, nothing is not only being done for their communities, but even less than nothing is being done for the Negro. Also, those programs the demon rats are stealing from. Honey, have you seen Big Tish and who else just got brought up on charges? These mayors, these black mayors and black politicians, and I mean, she's in the whole attorney general getting caught up in millions and billions of dollars worth of fraud. I got one I got to bring y'all on Barack and the Clintons and the Bidens and all the fraud they committed. I think they got did about $90 billion worth of fraud before Trump took office. I got some stuff to bring y'all. Gonna blow your hair completely back. I put 411 in the chat because a lot of our people here in California don't know, and they are still supporting these people like Bass and Harris, and our people that aren't getting help. Well, Mary Lee, I'm so glad that you are sounding the alarm. It is a 911. We are at DEFCON. Just pick a number. It is bad out here. And yeah, being in support of the demon rats is why we stay on the bottom. They did stop business loans to the illegals finally. I hope home loans go right behind that. Well, that's good to know, Yaira. You're talking about the federal government stop the business loans. I'm talking about these programs all throughout these demon-radically ran states. Those programs are benefiting these illegals, giving them more of an American life than we have. And I want other states to see what's coming their way. Absolutely, fam. Unions are supposed to be for citizens. So is politics, baby. Ivy Dreams. Yeah. Unions are supposed to be for citizens, and so is our politics, our representation, all of it. But you see the zoo that's happening at our expense. Mary Lee, are you in SoCal like myself and Angela? I found out a few months ago, hold on, LADWP has a job training program for those technical jobs. LADWP, I don't know what that means. Are these job training programs for Americans and Negroes in particular, or is this for immigrants? Because I got a story to bring you guys about Job Corps being upended, but we need our own anyway. You have to start getting into the habit of asking how many Negroes benefit. That's what you got to start asking. When you're looking at these big programs where they're funneling millions into, 9 times out of 10, the Negroes are not the ones to largely benefit. Well, I'm almost at 2 hours, family, and I've got to get ready for work. So I'm going to use this time to do our declaration, our declare and decree, and I'm going to pray us out and do my best to get in here tomorrow morning. It'll be an early broadcast, probably, I want to say from 7 to 9 is my goal. 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, that is, because I have to be at church by 10:30. Okay. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna come back. Ooh, let me not say definitely. Pray that I get up and get dressed and can come back on this live. If I lay out everything tonight, I should be able to. But I got to get over here more often. Now, when you see me during the weekday, it's more than likely going to be Avatar. On the weekends, I'll get to be able to have time to get dressed. But on the weekends, it'll be later and it'll be Avatar. Okay? Forgive me in advance. With that being said, I want to thank you all so very much from the bottom of my heart for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to pull up my declare and decree. Okay. Okay. I declare and decree that the highest form of righteous judgment is served over all corrupt beings of the government, judicial system, including the police officers, CPS Child Protective Services, judges, attorneys, FBI agents, the CIA, and all personnel working for the U.S. corporation with 3 Ks with wicked intentions. All hidden corruption and agendas are now destroyed forevermore, in spirit and in flesh, in sleep and in awakened states, across all timelines, realms, and dimensions, known and unknown. And with that being said, family, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Negro freedmen and our allies are, God truly is, because, family, you are the face of God. Yes, you are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. With that being said, family, I want you all to make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your Saturday until we meet again, prayerfully tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go out here. Each one teach one, as Queen Abadiah Shakur says. That's how we grow and thrive. Pay this video forward. Share, share, share. And until we meet again tomorrow, family, make it a fantastic rest of your afternoon. Please be sure to decompress and get out here and enjoy yourself. Okay, family? Class is over. See you tomorrow morning. Peace, love, light, and a ton of blessings. And above all things, let's continue to lean in and fight for reparations, 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 family. I'm out of here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.